The Warriors have a golden opportunity for the upcoming season, and we are just 4 days away from opening night, October 21st, against the Los Angeles Lakers NBA tip-off, and I am so very excited for the beginning of this season. I already was excited, but then a good buddy of mine, shout out Cade, got me this. Are you kidding me? Is this not the greatest thing you've ever seen? He found it at a Goodwill. Watch this, ready? Dub Nation, let's go. A Draymond Green reporter bobblehead. It doesn't get better than that. A bunch of news to break down today before we get ready to approach the beginning of the NBA season. As I said, just 4 days away. Tuesday night I haven't looked forward to a night more than Tuesday night in a long time, especially because there's been so much anticipation. It feels like this offseason has just lasted and lasted. And now all of a sudden we're so close to the beginning of the season, and I'm so very excited to talk about it, break all the things down. Hot takes, predictions, standings, all that type of stuff. Going to be a heck of a lot of fun. But today, before we get into all of that, I want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button, especially at this point in the year when the season is so close to starting and tipping off. The easiest way for you guys to support us, but also for your guys' perspective, it doesn't cost you anything. It's easy as possible. It's one button, and then you hit those notifications to never miss out on a video. And then as we approach the beginning of the season, and then once we get into the season, into hopefully a playoff run, you guys can ensure that you will be right here for all the headlines, all the news, all the game breakdowns and analysis that you can need right here on the channel. So today, what are we specifically talking about? Well, I want to start with an injury update on Moses Moody and Jimmy Butler. This came out yesterday, so we broke this down a little bit in the previous video, but I just want to remind folks that maybe didn't watch yesterday's video or just give some implications for what exactly this means moving forward for the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy Butler, doubtful for the preseason finale, which is, it says tomorrow, but that's actually tonight. He's been listed out, so Jimmy Butler's not going to play in the preseason finale. His ankle was just a tweak, right? So it's not something to be super nervous or worried or scared about. Seems like Jimmy will be okay. We'll be ready to go for the season opener next Tuesday. That one doesn't scare me that much. Jimmy's always been a cautious guy when it comes to injuries, especially in the preseason. No reason for him to play through that. Moses Moody scares me a little bit more because of a couple things. Number one, Moses Moody was going to be the starter because D'Anthony Melton is out, right? D'Anthony Melton, I expect to start in that two-guard position next to Steph Curry in the backcourt, but because he was out, it was pretty much the understanding that, hey, Moses Moody's going to start because of the success that the Warriors had last season when Moses Moody was in the starting lineup, right? Moses Moody gets hurt. Now you have to shift your mentality and your game plan a little bit around the fact that Moses Moody will not be available. Of course, he's just doubtful, so there's a chance maybe he turns it around, has some really good therapy over the last couple of days, or the next couple of days, I should say. Things work out. He's healthy and he's good to go, but I would expect Moody to miss the home opener, or the season opener, I should say, which means I would expect Brandin Podziemski to start, and we were sort of hoping that Brandin Podziemski would be the leader of the second unit, and he probably still can be. I would expect that if Pods does start, we would get the rotation of Steph playing the first 5-ish minutes, Pods, then some other guys coming in, and then Pods leading that second unit. Pods maybe plays the first 8-9 minutes of the game, and then Steph comes in for the last couple of minutes, the first quarter, and then starts the second quarter as well. That's my expectation. I would imagine if no Moody, no D'Anthony Melton, that Brandin Podziemski would be the starter. Other options, Buddy Hield and honestly, Will Richard. Those are the two guys that I don't think will start Gary. I think spacing is too much of an issue with Gary, Draymond, and Jimmy all on the floor. I wouldn't expect it to be Gary Payton. Seth Curry obviously won't be around because we have to re-sign him here in about a month or so. And other guys, you go down the list. I just think probably Will Richard or Podziemski makes the most sense in that position. We'll look at the roster a little bit more and break down minutes and things like that as we move closer to the beginning of the season. But I would expect Podziemski, Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, and Horford to be the starting lineup on an opening night in 4 days. I want to talk about the success and the importance of what Stephen Curry has been to not only this team over the last couple of years, but the organization over the past decade and a half, really. Steph was drafted 16 years ago. This is his 17th NBA season that he's about to tip off here very soon. And before he was drafted, the Warriors were 77th out of 92 NBA, NFL, and MLB teams in terms of franchise valuation, right? Now, the Warriors are second out of the 92 and number 1 in the NBA. And look at this list right here. The Warriors weren't even worth close to $1 billion when Steph joined the team in 2009. Now $11.33 billion, far and above the most expensive, the organization that's worst most in the NBA, and then second among those other leagues as well. The Los Angeles Lakers have been a dominant program for a long time, and for the Warriors, because of Steph Curry's impact, to be able to overtake that financially is just incredible. Knicks, Clippers, Celtics, Nets, Bulls, Heat round out that top 8 for as far as NBA franchise valuation goes, and it's just incredible to see the impact that Steph Curry has had on a franchise over the past decade and a half. It really shows that one player can completely change the trajectory of a program. Obviously, the Klay Thompsons, the Andre Iguodalas, the Draymond Greens of the world, those guys certainly helped. But this is Steph Curry's team. It's Steph Curry's organization. And you got to tip your cap to what he's been able to do over the last decade and a half, completely changing the atmosphere of the organization. And it's incredibly impressive, which is why I think he's also the best leader in the NBA, as NBA GMs would agree. Also, Steph Curry's not only a great basketball player, Steph Curry might be the greatest two-sport athlete currently living in the world. Deion Sanders and some other guys might have to have something to say about that, but specifically now at their age and in their prime, I mean, Steph Curry is a top 5 NBA player in the world still, okay? And he's probably the best celebrity golfer that's not a tour golfer in the world. Like, Steph Curry does things from a golf perspective that nobody who's not a pro golfer should be doing. Steph Curry outdrives Bryson DeChambeau. Like, do you realize how ridiculous this is? If you haven't watched Bryson DeChambeau's Break 50 YouTube series on YouTube, I highly recommend it to you. Go check it out. This is sort of a spoiler if you haven't seen the video. It came out probably 3 or 4 days ago at this point. But they try to break 50, Bryson DeChambeau and a celebrity. He's been done with Matt Stafford, Jason Kidd, some other NBA guys. But Steph and Bryson shot a 49. Obviously, they're playing a scramble. But, look at that scorecard. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3. Like, that is ridiculous. Steph Curry, Bryson DeChambeau swings as hard as he can, usually hits the ball 300 on a drive, and Steph is out driving him by just pure swinging it. It's ridiculous. And I don't know that there's another person on the planet that is better at two sports than Steph Curry is. When you think about it, Steph pretty much outplaying Bryson for most of the day. That is like the equivalent of Tiger Woods hitting 100 threes in a row. Legitimately. Like, Bryson DeChambeau is one of the best golfers in the world, and Steph Curry outplayed him through 18, pretty much, right? That's the equivalent of Tiger Woods stepping on the basketball floor, hitting 100 threes in a row and outshooting Steph Curry. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. This speaks to the valuation of the franchise, too. 34 nationally televised games for the 25-26 season. Folks, yes, the Warriors are going to get big games, nationally televised games, because they are one of the highest valued teams. But also, the Nets are the 6th most, I think it was 6th most. And they don't get nationally televised games because there's not an expectation that they're going to be a good team this year, which is, again, I think the league is showing respect to the team, saying, hey, we trust that the makeup of this roster is going to produce, which is why I think not only is, Steph Curry's must-see TV. It's the reason that even sometimes when the Lakers aren't amazing, but middle of the pack, their games are going to get scheduled because it's LeBron freaking James, But I do think that this is a little bit of a testament to the fact that not only do the Warriors feel like, or does the NBA and the TV providers feel like Steph and the Warriors are going to have a good year, but also they're must-see TV. So why would you not schedule these guys for a game? It makes a whole lot of sense. Talked about Steve Kerr, his reputation with the team, maybe his leadership. Some guys don't like him, some guys do. This is more proof to me, which is why I'm such a defender of Steve Kerr, that he is such a beloved coach by the guys that he's been coached by. Steph Curry won't even play for another coach. He doesn't even want to. He says, I don't want to play for another coach besides Steve Kerr. I think of one particular moment early in Steph's career when he did the ridiculous play against the Clippers. Maybe it was 2014, 2015, I don't remember. But Steph, the ridiculous through the legs, around the back, gets to the top of the key, three-point line, just throws it up on the Clippers when they're wearing their blue unis, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, all those guys. And Steve Kerr standing there on the sideline going, Steph, what are you doing? Don't shoot it, don't shoot it. He shoots it, and he makes it, and Kerr just goes like this and walks the other direction, and it's like, I have the best basketball player in the world on my team. And I think like he learned in that moment that it's not always about, like, obviously as a coach, you don't want to limit the abilities of your guys on your team. But I think in that moment, Steve learned a little bit of like, hey, I'm going to allow my guys to be who they are. And obviously Steph Curry's a little bit of an anomaly. He is the greatest shooter in the history of the planet. Like, there's never been somebody at that skill better than him. So obviously Steve's going to give him a green light. But I also think that's helped him learn through the player partnership aspect of coaching, that he understands now that, hey, there are going to be guys that don't respond well when I try to put them in a box. Sometimes you got to just let these guys flow and play, which is why Clay was great for all those years too. I think even when Jordan Poole was at his best with the Warriors was the moments where Steve Kerr said, hey, Jordan, I'm going to allow you to shoot and be a little more, chaotic. That's what Jordan Poole was. He was a chaos ball throughout all of those playoffs, but he was fantastic. And without Jordan Poole in 2022, we do not win the championship. I'll tell you that. So we talk about a golden opportunity. We talk about what the potential for this season is. And when I look at this season, I look at this roster and I say, who are the biggest X factors? Who are the biggest keys for this team? And we're going to break those specifics down in a future video. But I think specifically, just real quick, I would say the guys that stand out most to me are Jonathan Kuminga and Brandin Podziemski. A third honorable mention would be Buddy Hield, because when Buddy Hield is shooting well and playing well, we win games. When he's not, we don't win games. But Podziemski and Kuminga are so hot and cold. If they can find a way to be consistent this season, I'm very optimistic about what this team can be. You look at this team top to bottom, these are all guys that could be legitimate starters. Seth Curry could be a legitimate starter on an NBA team. Will Richard and Guy Santos, a little bit younger, but they deserve a nod to be a starter on an NBA franchise. All these other guys have been starters at points in their career. Steph, Jimmy, Dre, Jonathan Kuminga, Al Horford, Buddy Hield, Brandin Podziemski, Moody, Melton, Gary Post, all those, Trayce Jackson-Davis, all those guys have had stints where they've been starters in this league. Even a guy like Gary, where we have spot moments where we're like, hey, we believe that this is a series that Gary's going to thrive, so we're going to throw him in the starting lineup. Another reason why I think Steve Kerr is such a fantastic coach. And I look forward to seeing what this coaching staff can do with this roster. Steve Kerr said it's the most confident he's been in a roster in a long time. It feels concrete where these guys are going to move on the floor. And I'm very, very excited for the season. Got a lot more exciting videos coming out over the next couple of days as the Warriors season approaches. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, go Dubs. Peace.